Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video we talked about your climate and how that can affect what you actually can and can't grow in your garden. And so in this video what I'm going to do is walk you through the process of using that information to cross some of the stuff off your list. If you feel like you've already got this, you can go ahead and skip on to the next video. But if you were feeling like you're not quite sure how to get started crossing things off your list, then we are going to go through it together right now. All right, so right now you should have your dream list already done. This is the page of everything that you could ever possibly want to grow, right? And if you are following along in the planner, then there's a separate page for you to go ahead and copy all of those to, along with the information that you need in order to decide if they're actually going to work in your climate. If you're doing this in your own notebook, you can feel free to organize it however you like. But on this page where we're talking about can something survive in our climate, we're going to start by dividing our plants into two major categories. And I like to go by annual and perennial. So an annual is something that if you grow it in your area, the winter gets cold enough to kill it. And a perennial is something where the winter does not get cold enough to kill it. And also it is a plant capable of living more than 1 year. Different plants have different life cycles. Some plants can live 20 plus years. Other plants are going to be done after like 3 to 5 years. So that's just something to keep looking up as you go through your list so that you know about how long to expect that plant to be in whatever place you put it in your garden. So once you've got your plants divided into annuals versus perennials, then the next thing I want you to do is go through and search up the lowest temperature that each of those plants can handle. The low killing temperature is a good way to put it for Google search results, or frost tolerance can also be a way to phrase it for the search engines. But basically you're going to go through and write down every single one of these, what temperature kills it. If you run into something in the perennials column that has a low killing temperature that is higher than your lowest temperature in your region, then that plant is not going to be a perennial for you. It will just be an annual. And depending on what kind of plant it is, it may or may not make sense for you to try and grow that in your area. Now in the next video, we're going to talk about all the different options you have as far as extending your season or growing things that might not normally grow in your area. And so if you run into things that you find through this temperature matching that they're not going to grow in your area, but you still really want to try very hard to grow them, you can go ahead and circle them, and we can come back to those in the next video and see if there's anything we can do. When you're looking at annuals, especially if you're looking at common stuff that would be in a vegetable garden, you're probably going to find that most of them die at freezing temperature, 32 Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius, and that is part of what makes them annuals. Specifically, some of these annuals will grow longer if you allow them. So something like a pepper, for example, in regions where it never freezes, they can actually grow for multiple years. But here where it actually does get below freezing, they don't grow for multiple years because the freezing temperature kills them, right? And again, there are ways to get around this if you really wanted to, but because of the speed at which a pepper plant grows, most people decide to just grow it as an annual because you can still get a pretty good harvest off of it. All right, so let's just quickly go through an example. If I want to grow figs in my area, I first start by looking up the lowest temperature they can handle, and on average that's going to be about -10 degrees Fahrenheit, and this can change from variety to variety. Some are more cold hardy than others. So before I look into what variety I might need, I'm going to look at what my average coldest temperature is, and that is 13 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is a fair bit higher than that -10 that it could theoretically handle on average. And then on top of that, I also looked up my lowest ever recorded temperature in this region just to be sure. and that is -7 degrees Fahrenheit. That was recorded in 1899, so it's been a long time since it's been that cold here. So I can look at this information and see figs will grow as a perennial tree in my area pretty easily. All right, let's do a second example. So I'm gonna look at oregano. The lowest temperature that oregano can generally survive is about 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And then if we look at that compared to my climate data, we can see that it might actually struggle to survive. It'll be very, very close. Now that 13 average lowest, that doesn't mean that it will always hit 13 Fahrenheit in my region, but it has a good chance of it. So oregano is one of those things that some years it will survive the winter and some years it won't. Now, if you live in a temperate region, the lowest killing temperature might be the only thing you need to worry about. But for me and anybody who lives in like the south where it's pretty warm, you might also want to look at the high killing temperature. And even more so than the high temperature that will kill a plant, a lot of places you will have to look at the high temperature that will stop that plant from flowering or fruiting. So this is a big problem with tomatoes historically. In my region, it will get warm enough in the middle of summer that the tomatoes are still alive, but they're not setting fruit, and they won't set fruit until it cools back down. So as I go through this list, I am also looking at what is this high temperature that they can theoretically stand, and taking that into account. A lot of times it's not as hard of a cross off your list as that low killing temperature would be. It's more of a, okay, what time period in my season am I gonna have the right temperature for this to be okay? All right, once you've got your list whittled down by temperature, we are then going to look at season length, days till harvest, days till maturity. Either one of those, they mean basically the same thing. Most seed packets that you buy will have a days to maturity listed on the back. And the thing that I need to teach you about that is that days to maturity or days to harvest is not always the total amount of time that plant needs to grow. So I understand this gets pretty confusing, and I am so sorry that the industry is set up such that it's not very straightforward. But there are plants that are traditionally started indoors ahead of time, and there are plants that are traditionally seeded directly into the ground at the right time. And so with the plants that are usually started indoors, a lot of times the seed packets will be nice, and they will recommend start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before frost or whatever it is that variety says. And a lot of times the ones that you would direct seed will say that on them. Occasionally they won't say one way or the other, and you'll have to look it up. But the big thing to remember is that when it says start 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time, that is time that is added on to days till harvest. So on these specific ones, days till harvest means days after you put it outside in the ground. And that is actually meant to be helpful, right? Because if you're looking at the length of your frost-free days, the length of your season to grow things that would be killed by frost, then knowing how many days it would take outside after you started indoors, that can be really helpful for helping you figure out whether or not that plant, you have enough time to grow it in your region. So for example, in my area, I get 213 days on average of frost-free growing season. And this means that there's very little that I actually don't have time to grow. I am, again, looking at that higher temperature as more of a limitation than my lower temperatures. But what you're going to do is you're going to calculate the number of days between your last frost date in the spring and your first frost date in the fall. You can actually just ask Google to do this, put in both dates, it'll tell you how many days are in between. And then you want to compare that to days till harvest, days till maturity of the different plants that are still on your list. This is mostly applicable to, again, annuals where that frost is going to totally kill them off, but this can also be applicable to some of your perennials. Going back to figs as an example, some of you may live in a region where a fig would technically survive the winter, but potentially you don't have enough warm days for it to actually make fruit before the frost kills off that half-formed fruit. So with your perennials, you'll still need to go through and look at some of that. It's mostly the fruit-bearing ones that would have this issue. Anything where you're harvesting the foliage, like rosemary and thyme and all of these standard herbs, are going to do well pretty much anywhere where the temperatures are right. All right, so as your homework, go ahead and get that list broken down into the stuff that you can actually grow. And again, like I said, if you find yourself crossing off anything that you really, really wish that you could still grow and you're willing to put the effort in to make that happen, then join me in the next video and we'll go over some of the different strategies and ways that you would potentially be able to make that happen. I will see you then. Until then, happy gardening.